Yeah. So, all are comfortable with English and Hindi? Mix is also okay? Okay, great. So, today's orientation of this first task is the introduction on heritage, history, Indian history timeline, difference between heritage and monument, okay, and classification of heritage, dimensions of heritage, conservation principles, grading of heritage, agencies concerned with heritage, architectural features, dome, arch and vaults, and factors deteriorating heritage buildings. I will see how much I can cover because the another lecture is also followed by is the case studies. So I will read 3 case studies. So there are many, but we will discuss 3. So the slides are visible to you now. These are wavy sometimes because of the fan. So it may be in focus, out of focus, technically. So but no issue. Indian heritage structures and sites are antiquities of national and national asset. ये हमारी राष्ट्रीय धरोहर है, ठीक है? और वर्ल्ड ओवर heritage conservation is viewed as a subject of utmost importance for national identity and also preserving the knowledge and art of the past. Now, this is very important sentence. What your Vice Chancellor sir has already told, that you have to preserve not only art and culture, but also the knowledge behind it. Okay? The work on heritage identification and preservation started in mid-19th century in India. Okay? Mid-19th century means by Britishers. Okay? So many of the structures they were trying, their engineers were there, they were trying. And as I told in my uh, uh, speech during the address during the inauguration session, that it is not taught in the BTech course. In civil engineering, I am a civil engineer, it is not taught. Architecture also, what is the kind of materials are there, what is the load transfer material is not taught. So it is very difficult to give practical solutions to monuments and heritage structures. Because we are taught in engineering RCC structures, steel structures, dams, canals, how to survey, how to do transport, railways, but we are not taught this kind of, we are taught a little about masonry, but that too very primitive, and when you go to the real life problem which I will explain, they are nothing. So we have to, thank you dear. Thank you, thank you. So the history goes like this. The history of India and its start has been bound with the geographic nature of the vast continent. If you can see, it is the shape of the great sealed funnel. This is the kind of funnel is being talked about here. How our because it's not my field. I have learned this after coming to the structures. So mostly historians. So it is the shape of the great sealed funnel. The shape and sorry, one more thing. It will go waste. This is prepared by one of my students who was MR in heritage conservation. So she prepared all these things. We're discussing many discussions that we have to teach this. So Indian Peninsula is bound in the west by Indian Ocean. You all know, and on the east by Bay of Bengal, this side, and on the north it is by Himalayas. So only way was this the Ras. So where uh, we can now call them invaders. Initially they were coming for business. There were some people which are coming for business through sea route as well, and were आतंकवादी भी उन्हीं जरूरों से आते, तो वो सब इसमें रहा. So the Khyber and Bolian passes, they are the, you must have heard these names, Khyber Pass and Bolian Pass. They have come. So there were migratory tribes and conquerors that made themselves master of the rich plain of India. And these are all, I've given the reference from where I have taken this. Now the timeline goes like this. In India, the rock shelters of Bhimbekta, 9000 BC to 7000 BC. So then there is Indian civilization, early Harappan, late Harappan, Vedic period, early Vedic, Greek Vedic period, later Vedic period, then ancient India, what we call is 500 BC to 550 AD, and early medieval period, late medieval period, and now what we see mostly the colonial era, and the structure which I am going to discuss today, they are from colonial era and the early medieval period. Two structures to discuss. So you have the bandwidth of the kind of thing. And modern India is 1947 onwards. So that is what is the timeline. Now, heritage and monuments. This is the question, Chandra, which I asked. So, what is an heritage? Heritage is inheritance. That may be inherited. जो आप inherit कर सकते हैं वो heritage. So, a tradition. आप घर में जिस ढंग से पूजा करते हैं आपके बाबा बाबा के स्टाइल से, that is also your heritage. It is not only the structure. Okay? So heritage is anything. The way you make a festival, the way you do a thing from centuries as a society, features belonging to culture of a particular society, such as traditions, language, or buildings. Although we will cover here only buildings because I am from Central Building Research Institute. But the heritage is all this that were created in the past and still have historical importance. Now then, what is a monument? A structure. Now it is only a structure or site built for commemorative or symbolic reason or as memorial, a commemoration. An important site owned by community as a whole, an important burial vault or tomb, and an old building or place that is an important part in the country's history. There are some examples shown here and some examples are shown here. What I will try to tell you that in mathematics when we read set and subset, so monument is a subset of heritage. So all monuments are our heritage, but all heritage are not monuments. Okay? So that thing we can understand. Now, beyond it, in monument of national importance. So what are those? There was an act in 1951, the ancient and historical monument and archaeological sites and remains. This act 1951 was enacted. The act states that protected monument should be ancient monument and archaeological site and event should not be less than 100 years. Now we keep on declaring, ASI has the responsibility, not we. They keep on declaring many of the monuments which may come. The list get populated. More and more monuments they qualify because they take how much is our importance, how much is our capability. आप कितने मोनुमेंट को एक बार में संरक्षित कर सकते हैं क्योंकि बहुत सारी टाइम एनर्जी और पैसा उसमें लगता है और टेक्निकल नो हाउ देन in November 2011 establishment of National Monument Authority has been made and redefined 100 meters as prohibited and 200 meters as regulated area around the monument. Now, this is only symbolic acceptance. In any of the monuments, there are three areas like prohibited area and regulated area. Prohibited area means you cannot do any new construction in the prohibited area around a monument. And what is the reason for this? Probably, suppose ताजमहल के पास में किसी ने अपनी एक 50 मंजिल की बिल्डिंग बना दी चारों तरफ, ताजमहल तो दिखेगी और अगर उसको कहा बिल्डिंग गिर गई ताजमहल भी गिर गई तो उसकी सेंटिटी को बरकरार रखने के लिए। आप लोग सब दिल्ली रीजन से ही हैं। आप ये देखिए अक्षरधाम के पास जब वो सोसाइटी ये होता है एशियन गेम्स हुआ था, so there was developed a very high flag society. So Akshardham temple people, it is not a monument. They objected, if you next time pass through the highway, please see the building height is increasing as they go away from Akshardham. Because they were restricted. You cannot make a building up to this much area beyond the shikhar of the Akshardham. So that has the architecture beauty also, and our architect friends, they are responsible for maintaining this beauty. But this is one of the example why it is done. And then in construction in regulated areas in accordance with heritage bylaws and developmental control. So Humayun Tomb, New Delhi is the example. Now, when we do for heritage, so there is a classification. I already told you, but there are two types. It is tangible and intangible. Okay? Tangible means natural heritage, built heritage, cultural, architecture, historic, monument, building structures. So this is the part we will discuss more. We will discuss more because we only know a bit of it. Other things I do not know. So that way, but culture, tradition, customs, value, trade and skills, they are also heritage. Anyway, so what I told you that we will discuss tangible heritage, and in that we will discuss monument and building. So there is a pictorial diagram. This is the tangible heritage, and people, time and settings, they make intangible heritage as well, because we people make. Suppose you are 200 years from now, you still sit in this auditorium and somebody says, okay, this is our heritage. We had a heritage training course here. So after 200 years, means it might become important for you if it lasts that long. Normally, we don't say, but this is just an example. So now, what are the conservation principles? I know we have people from AFI, so they may be knowing better, but I will try to explain a bit. A monument or an archaeological site should be subjected to minimum शब्द पे आप गौर कीजिए, whilst only necessary intervention so as to maintain its authenticity and integrity. So conservation of monuments should be based on any conjecture or artistic imagination and should be based on reliable documentary evidence. Means आप उसे चेंज ना करें, इतनी ज्यादा ये नई बिल्डिंग नहीं है कि आपने बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग से अच्छी बना सकते हैं, लेकिन आपको हेरिटेज बिल्डिंग में जब भी आप कंजर्व कर रहे हैं तो आपको मिनिमम इंटरवेंशन करने हैं, मटेरियल एस्पेक्ट भी डिस्कस होगा और आपको कंपैटिबल मटेरियल्स यूज करने हैं। मेरे ख्याल से जो मटेरियल्स वाला लेक्चर होगा उसमें आपको डिटेल में थोड़ा सा बताएंगे, एग्जांपल भी देंगे। Intervention such as restoration, consolidation, reproduction, and retrofitting carried out within monument should, as far as possible, be clearly discernible and as a later alteration, repair, and restoration, and should be able to identify them from the original fabric of it. Now, this line is as of today. This may change. I will tell you one new thought what is happening in the archaeology people, what they discuss. What this line says, कि अगर मान लीजिए कार्विंग हुई थी, 10 स्टोन लगे हुए हैं, एक स्टोन बीच में से गिर गया, टूट गया, तो आप उसकी जगह दूसरा स्टोन लगाएंगे, तो प्लेन स्टोन लगाएंगे, जिससे ये पता लगे कि जब कंजर्वेशन किया गया तो ये पुराने नहीं है, ये सन 1300 का नहीं है, ये सन 2023 का है, या इस तरह से। अभी ये मेरे बनाए हुए डॉक्ट्रिन नहीं है, अभी आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट में डिबेट चल रही है, साहब वो बड़े गंदे लगते हैं क्योंकि कई सारे मोन्यूमेंट ऐसे बहुत सारे गिर जाते, तो पता ही नहीं लगता कि कितना सुंदर था। तो अभी इनकी डिबेट है, इसमें आर्किटेक्ट्स भी हैं, कुछ आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट और हिस्टोरियंस डिबेट करते हैं, शायद ये लाइन चेंज हो, क्योंकि जो कल्चर मिनिस्ट्री है वो ये चाहती है कि जब आप उसे बनाएं, क्योंकि इतने विजिटर्स आते हैं, उसको आप अच्छे से दिखाएं। और वो अगर हम वैसे ही बना सकते हैं, उसे बता दें, आप साइनेज दे दें कि लेटर ऑन एडिशन है, लेकिन देखने में मान लो सर कोणार्क का भीड़ है, अब वो टूट गया एक जगह से, आप क्या करोगे? प्लेन स्टोन लगा दोगे तो पता नहीं लगेगा। तो वो ये चाह रहे हैं कि आप उसका डिजिटल रिकॉर्ड, फोटोग्राफिक रिकॉर्ड उनके पास है, तो हम वैसे ही बना के लगा दें, मान लो बता दें ये हमने बाद में बना के लगाया। तो ये डिबेट चल रही है आज की डेट में, ये है तो मैं ये पढ़ा, है ना। बट मैंने ये भी बताया कि क्या आ सकता है, आप लोग भी पॉन्डर कीजिए क्या होना चाहिए क्या नहीं होना चाहिए। Work must be done very carefully, matching the original material details in terms of forms, color, and specification. It is regarding basically mortar. What is the work is done is mortar, you have to repair, and the stone consolidation. Suppose आज महल का रंग पीला हो रहा है, तो क्या दूसरा पत्थर लगा दें या उसको साफ करें, ये डिबेट चलती रहेगी, उसको साफ करें। अभी हम आते हैं ग्रेडिंग ऑफ हेरिटेज स्ट्रक्चर। तो इनके ग्रेड 1 के स्ट्रक्चर होते हैं बिल्डिंग एंड precincts of national or historic importance. Okay, and these are prime landmark of the region. All natural sites that fall within grade 1. अगर वो नेचुरल है तो ग्रेड 1 में ही नहीं, अगर कोई हमारी साइट है तो ग्रेड 1 में